Well, good afternoon. This is the Midday News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ashwarya with you. Let us start the news bulletin with the top headlines. Ahead of the budget session, government says it is ready to discuss all issues. Centre convenes all-party meet. Lok Sabha Speaker to also meet party leaders later today. Days after signing of a Bodo peace accord, more than 1,600 NDFB cadres lay down arms. Home Minister Amit Shah calls it final solution of long-standing Bodo issue. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu appeals to the youth to contribute to the creation of a new India by developing a positive attitude. Meets NSS volunteers. WHO meet to declare coronavirus a global health emergency. In China, death toll rises to 170 as virus spreads to more regions. And nation remembers Mahatma Gandhi on his 72nd death anniversary. President, Vice President, Prime Minister offer prayers at Rajghat. The budget session of Parliament will begin from tomorrow. The all-party meeting called by the government is underway to ensure smooth transaction of business in both houses of Parliament. An all-party meeting has also been convened by the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla today. During the meeting, the Speaker will seek the support of different political parties for the smooth conduct of business in the lower house. Rajya Sabha Chairman Venkaiah Naidu has also called an all-party meeting tomorrow. On to some other news now. The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Bill 2020. The amendments propose that the upper limit for permitting abortions to be extended from the present 20 weeks to 24 weeks. The extension will be for special category women, which will include rape survivors, victims of incest, differently abled women and minors. The bill amends the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971 and it will be introduced in the upcoming budget session of Parliament.
महिलाओं के अधिकारों को सुनिश्चित करना, उसमें न्याय लाना जरूरी था और अपने देश में 20 सप्ताह के बाद गर्भपात होते थे, वो इनफॉर्मल चैनल में होते थे, रिस्की होते थे और उसके कारण माता मृत्यु दर बढ़ता था। एक अनुमान ऐसा है कि 8% मौतें देश में माता मृत्यु दर में ये अनसेफ एबॉर्शन करने से होती है।
The Union Cabinet also approved a proposal for official amendments in the National Commission for Indian System of Medicine Bill 2019. And the bill is aimed at ensuring necessary regulatory reforms in the field of Indian System of Medicine Education. And official amendments in the National Commission for Homeopathy Bill 2019 were also approved. The amendments will ensure necessary regulatory reforms in the homeopathy education in our country and promote the availability of affordable healthcare services in all parts of our country.
होम्योपैथी और इंडियन मेडिकल सिस्टम, ये चारों व्यवस्थाओं में यूनानी और सिद्ध, इसके कॉलेजों में अच्छी गुणवत्ता बरकरार रहे, अच्छी बढ़े और बढ़े, उच्च गुणवत्ता की शिक्षा हो, उच्च गुणवत्ता की परीक्षा इम्तिहान हो, अच्छे संस्थाओं को एक्रीडेशन मिले, सीटें बढ़ा सकते उनकी और उसके साथ साथ सामाजिक न्याय के रूप में 50% सीटें कि जो फीस तय करना है उसका भी अधिकार मेडिकल कमीशन को मिलेगा।
And in some other decisions, the Union Cabinet gave its nod for the allocation of 30% of funds for the North-Eastern Council for new projects. Now, this is for the focused development of deprived areas, neglected sections of the society and emerging priority sectors.
अभी तक 60% राज्यों के प्रोजेक्ट में लगते थे, 40% रीजनल प्रोजेक्ट में लगते थे। अब ये 30% की व्यवस्था से एक सरलीकरण हो जाएगा, काम की गति बढ़ेगी और जिन वर्गों को और जिन क्षेत्रों को विकास का अवसर नहीं मिलता था वो मिलेगा और नई आवश्यकताएं जो सामने आएगी उसके लिए भी वित्त उपलब्ध होगा।
A retired joint secretary in the Finance Ministry, a Supreme Court advocate, a freelance journalist, a retired newsreaders from All India Radio, a yoga teacher, a community radio activist and students are among those engaged as consultant entrepreneurs in the Rajya Sabha Secretariat. The latest empanelment is part of an exercise undertaken after a direction from Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu to ensure simultaneous interpretation service in all 22 scheduled languages. With Wednesday's empanelment, 32 consultant entrepreneurs have now been enlisted for 7 languages. These include Dogri, Konkani, Kashmiri, Santali and Sindhi. Rajya Sabha Secretary General Deshdeepak Verma presented the certificates of the empanelment to 13 persons engaged as consultant entrepreneurs for Kannada, Marathi and Konkani languages. Instead of recruiting full-time entrepreneurs, the Secretariat has hired consultants who will be engaged on need basis.
We are not giving it as a job. We are only wanting to add some color, some quality to your life and also add some color and some quality to our own Rajya Sabha deliberations. Like last time when the chairman announced that the person who is doing the interpretation is a student. It was appreciated by everybody. It was an applause in the house.
Immediately I knew how challenging this is going to be because it's not your interpretation, you have to interpret simultaneously with the person whoever is speaking. And I said, oh my God, this is a challenge, so I'm going to accept it.
As a consultant बनने के लिए तो ये मुझे बहुत ही हार्ड लग रहा था कि मैं कर पाऊँगा नहीं कर पाऊँगा। बाकी एक बात ये भी थी कि हाँ मैं कर ले जाऊँगा इसको।
News from Brussels. A joint motion combining 5 different resolutions tabled by the members of the European Parliament against India's Citizenship Amendment Act was debated at the plenary session in Brussels, with an expected vote on the motion on Thursday postponed until March. The debate opened with a statement by Helena Dalli, the Vice President of the European Commission and the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, and she spoke strongly in favour of the rich, frank and open relationship the European Union shares with India. She highlighted Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming visit to Brussels in March for the 15th India-EU Summit. 2 Indian origin MEPs, Dinesh Dhamija and Neena Gill, were among a host of members who spoke up in India's favour to point out the elements of disinformation around the CAA and the National Register of Citizens within the parliamentary motion. Now, Thierry Mariani, a French MEP, alluded to the hand of Pakistan in the motion being tabled, while others condemned it as meddling in another country's internal affairs. The government has maintained that the CAA is an internal matter of our country and stressed that the goal is to protect the oppressed minorities of the neighbouring countries.
The President of the European Council and the President of the European Commission will host the Prime Minister of India for the 15th EU-India Summit on the 13th of March here in Brussels. We have with India a rich, frank and open dialogue on all issues of common interest, as well as on issues where we might have different perspectives. On this occasion, the Minister for External Affairs and Prime Minister Modi reaffirmed their strong interest for a deepened strategic partnership with the European Union. The issue which you are debating today was also part of the discussions, and the HRVP inquired about risks of discrimination among refugees and migrants on religious grounds under the revised legislation. We believe that it is the role of the Supreme Court of India to assess the compliance of the law with the Constitution. And we are confident that the ongoing judicial process will contribute to appeasing the tensions and violence witnessed over the past weeks in the country.
I really welcome that the vote has been postponed on the resolution. First, it's full of factual inaccuracies. Secondly, it is right that we take time to have a proper debate, and this House waits until the Supreme Court has deliberated on this. And one thing we have to recognize that India has a very strong civil society, and Indians are far more than capable of holding their executive to account without interference from those who know very little about it.
Big story from Assam, where 1,615 cadres of different faction of the National Democratic Front of Bulletin laid down their arms at a ceremony in Guwahati in the presence of State Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal. Remember, the government had signed a tripartite agreement with the NDFB groups and the Assam government on 27th of January in Delhi. As per the peace accord, a 1,500 crore rupees financial package in the next 3 years will be given for the development of the Bodoland Territorial Region, or the BTR. The recently signed tripartite pact was the third Bodo Accord signed in the last 27 years. The Assam government has assured also that the new treaty would not hamper the interest of the non-Bodo people who are staying in the BTC area. And now all the news and updates are from the upcoming Delhi Assembly elections. And in the upcoming package, we look at the key issues facing South Delhi's Sangam Vihar constituency. Now, once a BJP bastion, the seat is now occupied by the Aam Aadmi Party, and it is witnessing a three-way contest this time with the candidates of AAP, Congress and the BJP's ally JDU in the fray this time. Let's have a look at this special report.
Located in South Delhi, the Sangam Vihar Assembly seat comes under the South Delhi Lok Sabha constituency and has over 1,64,000 eligible voters. The assembly seat came into existence in 2008 after the delimitation exercise of 2002. Sangam Vihar is one of the largest unauthorized colonies in the city-state and is plagued with issues like broken and waterlogged roads, overflowing drains and poor connectivity. Once a BJP domain, Sangam Vihar elected AAP's Dinesh Mohania in 2013 and 2015. Promising overall development of the area if re-elected, Mohania is seeking a third straight term from the seat.
हमारा रोड मैप ये है कि एक तो जो पिछले 5 साल में हमने काम किया है उसको लेके जनता के बीच जा रहे हैं कि देखिए जी ये काम संगम विहार में हुआ, जो दिल्ली के लेवल पे हुआ वो भी ठीक है, लेकिन संगम विहार में भी बहुत काम हुआ है। तो संगम विहार के जो लोकल लेवल पे काम है उसको भी लेके जनता के बीच में जा रहे हैं और ये कह रहे हैं कि जी अभी सारा काम नहीं हुआ है, सारा कुछ नहीं हो पाया, क्योंकि संगम विहार जैसी अनडेवलप्ड कॉलोनी में जहाँ कुछ भी नहीं था वहाँ काफ़ी काम करने के बाद भी काफ़ी काम करना और बाकी है। तो फिर आगे चलते हैं और जितना टाइम आप हमें देते हैं तो फिर हम और काम करेंगे, ये कह के जा रहे हैं।
The BJP has not fielded a candidate in this constituency. Instead, its ally JDU is fielding a candidate here under the seat sharing agreement. The party has fielded Dr. Shiv Charan Lal Gupta, who won this seat twice in 2008 and 2013 on a BJP ticket.
सबसे पहले तो इस क्षेत्र में रोड और नालियों का कार्य ऐसे किया जाएगा कि बिल्कुल साफ सुथरी रोड्स होंगी, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, इस विधानसभा में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है जो पब्लिक यूटिलिटी सिस्टम में हो। मैं यहाँ पर एक गर्ल्स स्कूल और एक मैटरनिटी अस्पताल फौरन खुलवाऊंगा। ज़मीन मैंने शूटिंग रेंज में खाली करवाई थी, हालांकि उस पे कब्जे शुरू हो गए हैं, लेकिन उन कब्जों को हटा के वहाँ पर एक अस्पताल और ये बनेगा।
The Congress, which has never won this seat, has fielded Poonam Azad. In 2003, Poonam Azad had contested against the then Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit on a BJP ticket from Gol Market. She quit the BJP in November 2016 to join the Aam Aadmi Party and later joined the Congress in April 2017.
सबसे पहले तो सड़क, फिर नाली, फिर जल और शिक्षा। ये यहाँ 12वीं की स्कूल भी नहीं है। ये हमारे और हमारे पास अनुभव की कमी नहीं, हमें मालूम है हम यहाँ के वर्तमान विधायक और पूर्व विधायक की तरह नहीं है जो वोट लेके चले जाएंगे। हमारे पास अनुभव है काम करने की, इतना बड़ा एक्सपीरियंस है।
While a host of local issues are likely to decide the battle for Sangam Vihar, expectations of regular and clean supply of water is high among the residents. Bharat Singh Divakar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has appealed to the youth of the country to contribute to the creation of a new India by developing a positive attitude. Interacting at his official residence with the members of the NSS who have participated in the Republic Day parade camp in New Delhi this time, the Vice President said that there was no place for violence in a democracy. He also appealed to the youth to stay away from those encouraging violence and said that those who are instigating violence are working against the interests of the nation.
The youth must also develop a positive outlook. We are an independent country. We are no more under colonial rule. So we have to see that we protect the property of the people. And also develop a constructive attitude, not destructive or obstructive. Constructive attitude because you will be doing something good for the nation. If you destroy the government property, you may think that you are not destroying the property of the Chief Minister or Prime Minister. You are destroying your own future and then adding to the taxes. This has to be understood. And violence in democracy has no place. And we are a peaceful nation. India was once upon a time was Vishwa Guru, but we never attacked any country because we don't believe in colonialism. So we have to develop a positive attitude, peaceful attitude. We are one nation, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion, region. India is one. अटक से लेकर कटक तक, कन्याकुमारी से कश्मीर तक, भारत एक है. ये भावना हमारा सब में होना चाहिए. इसलिए मेरे ख्याल से youth, they should really protect themselves from the forces of disintegration, from the forces of violence. As I always tell, ballot is more powerful than bullet. Some people in the name of revolution, this ideology, that ideology says, sir, power comes through bullet. Nothing will come from bullet. And even if it comes for a while, it will not sustain. By ballot, you can change anybody. Is there no scope for disagreement, sir? I said, yes, there is a scope for disagreement. Agree. Let the government propose, let the opposition oppose, let the House dispose. In democracy, finally it's voting. So we have to develop such positive attitude and also nationalistic outlook. We must respect our icons of the nation. And when we say Bharat Mata ko Jai or Vande Mataram, is not Jai Ho to that map, not to Jai Ho to that picture. It is Jai Ho to 130 crore population. All elderly, youngsters, women, men, minority, majority, we are all one. This feeling should be there, and we must protect that feeling, and we must not discriminate people on the basis of caste or religion. I appeal to the youth to stay away from those encouraging violence. Those instigating violence are working against the interests of the nation. Please remember that there is no place for violence in a democracy. Youngsters like you must strive to build a new India which will be free of poverty, discrimination, inequalities, corruption, and hunger. It's not possible for one Prime Minister, one Chief Minister of a state to eradicate corruption. People, and particularly youngsters, must be there in the forefront to oppose corruption, fight corruption.
And earlier in the day, Sikkim Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang called on the Vice President. On to some other news, the lawyer for the death row convicts in the Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case moved a Delhi court seeking to stay their executions scheduled for 1st of February, saying that the legal remedies of some of them are yet to be availed. The plea was mentioned before Special Judge A.K. Jain, who said that it will be heard later in the day today. Remember, the 23-year-old paramedic student Nirbhaya was gang raped and brutally assaulted on the intervening night of December 16 to 17, 2012. Now an update on the coronavirus, and the death toll from the novel virus epidemic has now jumped to 170, with 38 more fatalities reported mainly from the worst affected central Hubei province of China. The Chinese government has also confirmed over 1,700 infections. A number of global airlines, including Air India, British Airways, Lion Air and Indigo Airlines, on Wednesday suspended their flights to Chinese cities. India, the US, the UK and Germany have already issued travel advisories against travelling to China. Beijing also has been asking Chinese nationals not to travel at home and abroad in view of the virus. And Air India suspended its flights on Delhi-Shanghai route from 31st of January to 14th of February. Indigo Airlines also suspended its flights on the Bengaluru-Hong Kong route from 1st of February and the Delhi-Chengdu route from 1st to 20th of February. Besides India, several other countries, including the US, France, Japan, South Korea, are making arrangements to airlift their nationals from the central Hubei province and its capital city, Wuhan. Over 23,000 Indian students, of which 21,000 are medical students, are studying in China. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization on Wednesday warned all governments to take action over the virus that is spreading from China. And today, the WHO will hold an urgent meeting over whether the viral epidemic should be declared a global health emergency, a designation that can increase international coordination. In more international news, the members of the European Parliament have overwhelmingly backed the terms of the UK's departure from the EU. The MEPs ratified the Brexit withdrawal agreement by 621 votes to 49 following an emotional debate in Brussels. The Wednesday's session saw those on either side of the Brexit debate, including the UK's 73 MEPs, celebrate or lament the end of British EU membership. The UK is due to leave the bloc at 2300 GMT on Friday. And after the UK leaves the European Union, there will be a 11-month transition period in which the two sides hope to negotiate their future economic relationship, and trade talks are expected to begin in early March. And now our special segment on environment and climate change. According to Paris Agreement, if the global warming is restricted to 2 degrees Celsius, the cost of damage control due to climate change will also decrease. Climate policies like the replacement of coal-fired power plants by windmills and solar energy, or the introduction of carbon dioxide monitoring and control have some economic costs. However, till now, temperature-induced losses in the economic production had not been accounted for. Researchers have designed a computer simulation which has fed up-to-date research on economic damages driven by climate change. It processes the data and helps with the policy formulation, which helps economic growth that is in sync with the climate change impact. And the nation is paying homage to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 72nd death anniversary today. It was on this day in 1948 that Mahatma Gandhi fell to the bullets of his assassin. The day is also observed as Martyrs' Day. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu paid floral tributes to the father of the nation at Rajghat this morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid homage. On the occasion, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, 3 service chiefs, Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat, Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal also paid floral tributes. Congress President Sonia Gandhi, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh also earlier offered floral tributes. And a special prayer meeting was also organized at Rajghat. President, Vice President and the Prime Minister attended the prayers. And officers and staff of the Rajya Sabha Secretariat also observed silence in the memory of those who gave their lives in the struggle for India's freedom. Every year, condolence prayer is observed for a few minutes on the occasion of a death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for your time.